Hi folks, this is Jason. Hope you're okay today. We're looking at this book, The Resurrection of Jesus, and by Mike Licona, IVP, one of the great books today. Absolutely awesome book. And we've looked at the Gospels, and now we're looking at other historical rabbinic sources. Scholars have given attention to a few rabbinic sources as candidates for tradition about Jesus. However, there is much disagreement over whether the person referred to is actually Jesus of Nazareth. For the purpose of our investigation, only one of these passages of interest is the Sanhedrin 43a. It was taught on the day before the Passover they hanged Jesus. A herald went before him for 40 days proclaiming he will be stoned because he practiced magic and enticed Israel to go astray. Let anyone who knows anything in this favour come forward and plead for him. But nothing was found in his favour, and they hanged him on the day before the Passover. This passage appears in the Babylonian Talmud, which was produced by Jewish scholars. I'll just finish this and then I'll phone them back. We cannot know whether any information they utilised from 3rd century sources was based on reliable 1st century sources. The rabbis typically were not interested in history, and their creative imagination ran free in creative storytelling. Accordingly, some hold that the Sanhedrin 43 we are reading polemic against Christians for the period, or an apologetic response to the passion narratives in the canonical Gospels. In summary, the rabbinic sources were compiled in the 4th and 5th century, and contain a chunk of information written in the 3rd century that may have origins in early source of unknown origin and reliability, and we can have no confidence that the rabbinic sources used their 3rd century sources responsibly, that the 3rd century sources used the earlier sources responsibly. The rabbinic source probably tell us what educated Jews of the 3rd century, perhaps earlier, knew or believed about Jesus. Bart Ehrman summarized the opinions of many when he writes, "In view of the dates of these writings and the compilation of establishing the origins of the tradition, scholars by and large realize that they can no longer, as they once did, simply quote a passage from the Talmud and assume that it reflects conditions in the 1st century of the Common Era, any more than one can quote a modern newspaper editorial and assume that it reflects conditions of colonial America." Now, I think that there's a bit of political writing there. I think Licona it's admirable that Licona is trying to be as honest as he possibly can. But I disagree with him, and I disagree with Bart Ehrman. If you go on Tyndale House, you'll find some amazing scholars there that will give you some good reasons why you can trust some of the rabbinical writings. And I would say that there is early historical traditions that go back to the 1st century in rabbinical writings and about Jesus, and they are important source material because it shows that there was a polemic against a historical person called Jesus, who was crucified, and that evidence is there. And you can tell that when you look at the Talmud, you look at other ancient documents, how, for example, in one document, there is an ancient document where it's got some really bad stuff about Jesus in the Talmud, and the Jews, in order to get it certified by the government of the time, rubbed it out. They rubbed it out of the manuscript and covered it over. But we can now look at, with ultraviolet light and other technical ways of getting behind the text, and we can see that it was rubbed out. So we can find that there is this ancient material about Jesus in the Talmud and in other rabbinic literature. So I'm not as skeptical as Licona there, or as Bart Ehrman.